Hello, everybody, and welcome to White House Field here on a gorgeous Tuesday evening. It is time for some baseball. Finally, Cape Cod able to get out from under the constant rain clouds, and we are ready to play some ball. And again, this will be a day following an off day for the Harwich Mariners as they took yesterday off. The Brewster Whitecaps and Harwich Mariners, the only two teams that were not in action just a day ago. In case you're wondering, on the opponent today for the Harwich Mariners, the Chatham Anglers, well, they had a game against the YD Red Sox in which they took a narrow victory by a final score of 15-1. So one of the hottest teams in the East trying to bounce back from a tough stretch. Chatham currently sitting in second place in the East, and the Mariners currently on a two-game losing streak. They've fallen to 7-9 following a couple of losses against the Orleans Firebirds, who currently sit atop the East. So today the Mariners will come in looking to improve upon their record and fight their way back to 500. Hello everybody, I'm Tyler Henry, joined as always by my broadcast partner Colin Casey, and as we get ready for baseball, Colin, it seems like Harwich has been doing this all season long. They've never gone more than 2 games below 500. They've never gone more than 1 game above by 500, but with a 3-game stretch coming up against the Eastern Division, a game today against Chatham, and then a home-and-home against the Brewster Whitecaps, these are some crucial games coming up here for the Mariners, and they've got to get at least 2 out of 3, you would think, to stay out of that basement in the East.
Well, I mean, you said it. I mean, there's good news and bad news which comes with staying around that 500 mark. I mean, the good news is at least there's a little bit of consistency here, and you're not in a situation like Hyannis where you're well below 500, really trying to catch up. But at the same time, I mean, it's really tough to keep pace with these other teams in the East when they go on these winning streaks and you're stuck going back and forth, win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. So it's really going to be important for these next couple of games, especially with the way the Mariners have struggled against the East. I mean, they're 0-5 on the season, and they've got 3, as you mentioned, crucial games against the East coming up, 2 of them against Brewster, but of course today you got Chatham, and they're going up against one of the hottest teams, as you mentioned, 15-1 they beat YD the other day, and they also have one of the hottest hitters in the league in Jamal O'Gwyn, who had 4 RBIs in that 15-1 game. So it's going to be a tall order for the Mariners, but let's see if they're up for it here today.
Yep, this is a Chatham team that is chasing down the Orleans Firebirds, who handed them a couple of losses earlier this season, and that was really where the losses came for Chatham earlier, at least when you're looking at other Eastern teams. So they were able to bounce back pretty nicely. I mentioned the 2-game winning streak that they're on right now, and you know, again, when you look at Harwich right now at 14 points, that's last in the East. That would be 3rd place in the West. All 3, Falmouth, Bourne, and Hyannis currently with fewer points than that, but you know, for Harwich, they've done their job against the Western teams. 7-4 on the season, but now they will turn their attention to the East, of which they are looking for their first win. And the other thing is they've been beaten by all 4 of the other Eastern teams. The Orleans Firebirds getting a pair of wins, the Chatham A's looking for their second today, the YD Red Sox sneaking in a victory, and of course the Brewster Whitecaps earlier this year. So you play every team in the West 4 times, 2 at home, 2 on the road. You play every team in the East 6 times, 3 at home, 3 on the road. This is the part of the schedule, Colin, where everything needs to start clicking. And the one thing I want to look into really quickly with you is the offense has been so consistently inconsistent this season for the Mariners. It seems like at times this team can't be stopped. They'll go out, they'll put up 11 hits and 7 runs, and they'll get a big win. Then the next day they'll only put up 3 hits, and they all come in the first couple of innings, and then they go 0 for 16 to end a game like they did yesterday against Orleans. What does the focus have to be from an offensive perspective going forward into the season to kind of make it more consistent as time goes on?
Well, I mean, I guess one way to put it would be just to pretend you're playing the West the way they've been offensively against the West. They've won against every single team in the West this season, but they haven't beaten anyone in the East yet, and it seems like all that offense is coming up against these West teams, whether it be Falmouth or Bourne or Hyannis. But you got to be able to win games in the East if you want to have a shot in the playoffs. Right now, they're not even in the playoff hunt right now. Well, they are in the playoff hunt, but they're not in the playoff picture if things were to end today. Luckily, they don't. But you need to find out how to beat teams in your division if you're going to be playing up against them in the postseason if you're given the opportunity.
Of course, the other big thing between these two teams is this is a Chatham team that has historically had the number of the Harwich Mariners. They are looking to continue a 9-game winning streak that spans the course of 2, now 3 seasons against the Mariners, in which they will look to continue that and go 10 in a row. So they've won their last 9 games against this Mariner squad, and that's been with 3 different teams, but take a look at the game between these two earlier this season where Chatham was able to get a 5-0 victory. It was another game where the bats never really seemed to wake up for the Mariners, but Colin, a completely revamped lineup today than what we saw in Game 3 of the season earlier with a lot of new guys coming in.
Yeah, of course, we got a debut as well with Dylan Noisy batting the leadoff out of Texas Tech. He's finally made his way here. Plus, they also have guys back in the lineup that were gone due to the home run derby. Tyler Keenan back in the lineup at playing third and batting fifth. And then Corey Acton, another new addition coming in. He had a home run in the game against Orleans just 2 days ago. So definitely a revamped lineup. So Chatham's going to have their hands full, but they are going up against the same pitcher in R.J. Dabovich, and Dabovich looked awfully good against this Mariners team back on June 14th.
Yep, and of course, talking about that revamped lineup, they've used a total of 12 guys that day, if you include pitchers and pinch hitters, and of those 12, 6 are not currently on the roster, and the other 6 still remain. So, you talked about it too. The guys coming back from the Home Run Derby, Tyler Keenan, of course, is the only name still in the lineup from the Home Run Derby, as Mike Rothenberg will get a break today in place of Pat Winkle. And then, of course, Dylan Noisy will be making his first start today, and that will keep Chris Lanzilli out of the lineup. Let's go through the lineup really quickly for the visiting Chatham Anglers. They will lead things off with the center fielder Caden Polkovich. At second base, Anthony Villar. In right field, Jamal O'Gwin. At first base, Alex Terral. At third base, Ben Ramirez. Your DH today, Paxton Wallace. Shortstop, Houston Morrill. Left fielder, Colin Hall. And catcher, Brady Smith. And out there on the bump for them today will be R.J. Dabovich, who, as you mentioned, pitched a pretty solid performance back in early June against this Harwich Mariners squad, and they will call on his services here again today.
Yeah, he went 3 innings. It was a 3-3-3 situation, which is something that Chatham really likes to go with. You get three innings out of three quality pitchers. But in this one, Dabovich, he actually picked off 2 Harwich base runners, so he had a great pickoff move. The righty actually was able to get the outs over at first, so we'll see if the Mariners are so aggressive as they were. But 3 innings, 4 hits, just a 1 walk, and he struck out 2. So Dabovich, despite not getting the win in that game, got Chatham put in a great spot to win, and that's exactly what they did.
Yep, R.J. Dabovich, of course, being slid into the Sunday starter role at Arizona State back in 2019, where he posted a pretty impressive year through 16 games, 9 of which he started. He put up a 7-1 record, added 3 saves out of the bullpen as well, a 4.75 ERA, and 47 strikeouts to 26 walks. We turn to the national anthem, but when we come back, the starting lineup for the Harwich Mariners, all that and more right around the corner. You're listening to the Harwich pregame show here on Harwich YouTube. So with the national anthem, we are back. Tyler, Henry, Colin, Casey here at White House Field as the Harwich Mariners get set to host the Chatham Anglers. Let's go through the starting lineup for the Harwich Mariners. Making his debut and leading off will be Dylan Noisy out of Texas Tech. We'll have more on him in just a minute. Hitting the DH spot in the 2-hole will be Mike Ludwig. Your right fielder today, Daniel Cabrera. First baseman, Nico Cavadas. Third baseman, Tyler Keenan. Second baseman, Corey Acton. Max Marischak out in center field. Pat Winkle behind the dish. And shortstop, Hal Hughes. And getting his first start of the year, I believe, today will be Connor McCullough at the University of Kansas State. He's been used predominantly as a reliever this season, but Harwich today will turn on him to get a start today, Colin.
Yeah, and he's been very productive out of the pen with a 2.25 ERA in 2 games pitched. He's gone 4 innings, just giving up the 1 earned run on 2 hits, only walking 2 and striking out 6. So good control and a good job by McCullough so far out of the pen. Let's see what he's got making the start here on this evening.
And of course, much like his teammate in Carson Seymour out of the University of Kansas State, those 2 guys both on innings limits coming in here, as each of them made a transfer McCullough transferring out of the University of Arkansas, came to Kansas State, was not allowed to pitch due to eligibility last year. So he is coming off the innings limit, and that's a big part of the reason why he will be able to start today. And one more thing with the starting rotation for this team, obviously you lose Logan Allen, and then to add insult to injury, you go out and you lose Buddy Hayward, who will be gone for about a week or so. So, you know, with those two guys missing, you got to find some other arms that can come in and start games, and Connor McCullough, one that they trust here in this spot.
Yeah, it was more like adding injury to insult with this.
True.
With Logan Allen leaving and then having that injury with Buddy Hayward. But you got guys that have been in these situations in college before where they've had to make spot starts, and McCullough, I'm sure, is used to it, and he's just trying to go out there and pitch a good game. But he's facing two of the hottest hitters right now in the entire league, with the leadoff man of Caden Polkovich with 11 RBIs, and then Jamal O'Gwin batting in the third spot. He's got 15, so that's 26 RBIs combined out of two players. And those are the two guys I think that McCullough's got to worry about in this Anglers lineup.
Yeah, this Chatham team has been absolutely dominant this year. We talked about Orleans and what they've been able to do. Chatham is right behind them, a team batting average of 244, and on the flip side, a team ERA of just 3.02. This team does not give up many runs, and they put up a bunch, as Whitey found out last night, in a 15-0 loss. So we are ready for baseball as Caden Polkovich will step into the batter's box for the first time today, and he will lead things off for a Chatham team looking to continue a couple of streaks, a 2-game winning streak in the league this year, and a 9-game winning streak against the Mariners. First pitch is a fastball that'll miss high and away, and the count will start the game at 1-0. Connor McCullough here in his first start of the year, as we mentioned, just a two-pitch guy, fastball splitter, and here the ball's going to be taken up the right side in between the 3-4 hole for the first hit of the day. So Chatham picks it right up where they left off yesterday, Colin, with a base hit, and Harwich is going to want to close this down quickly.
Yeah, and Polkovich continues his hot hitting. Came in at 300 even. That's going to go up with that leadoff single. Not a hard hit ball on the right side of the infield, but he just simply hit him where they ain't, and leadoff man is on to begin the first inning.
Yep, there was a lot of space there in between Cavadas and Acton, and really quickly here in a moment, we'll set the defense. But stepping in is Anthony Villar. Runner on first. First pitch that he sees is a fastball that'll miss low and inside. So Pat Winkle is behind the dish. Cavadas at first. Corey Acton getting his first start at second. Hal Hughes at short. Tyler Keenan at third. Dylan Noisy in left. Max Mershock in center. And Daniel Cabrera out in right. The 1-0 pitch. Fastball will miss low. And the count's 2-0 here.
Are one of two Hurricanes in this lineup, with Alex Terral also batting in the cleanup spot.
Yep, a lot of coaches kind of have the in with certain teams as the throw over to first base is not in time. So you'll see a lot of repeat guys. Of course, Harwich this year bringing in a ton of Wake Forest and Notre Dame talent. Also, two guys from Texas Tech. Would have been three, but Bryce Bonin will not be coming as this fastball is in there for a strike to make the count 2-1. So it's Anthony Villar, as we work our way through the first inning. Runner on first, 2-1 count. Connor McCullough comes set from the stretch and brings home the pitch. And that fastball will miss high, so he's fallen behind here 3-1.
Yeah, it'd be definitely a tough start if they put the first two on with O'Gwin in the on-deck circle. A power threat and a guy who just is driven in runs like it's his job this year, tied for first in the entire league with 15.
Runner takes off. That one's going to be fouled away, though, so the hit and run was on, but it's to no avail as the count is now full on Anthony Villar. And that's something we saw a lot out of Chatham back earlier this season in early June as these two went at it. A lot of hit and runs, a lot of guys trying to swipe bases, and they're not afraid to be aggressive out there on the base paths. One of the top teams in the league in stolen bases alongside the Harwich Mariners. 14 steals for them so far. Here comes the payoff pitch, and that one's going to be swung on but fouled away down the third base line. So it'll still be a full count here on Villar. Anthony Villar. Big spot here, trying to get things started for his team. Connor McCullough trying to slow things down. 3-2 count. Here comes the payoff. Runner takes off again. It's going to be ball 4, so it won't matter as Winkle was unable to get that one out of his glove. And that will bring up, as you mentioned, Colin, Jamal O'Gwin with a runner in scoring position and nobody out.
Yeah, not only is he tied for the lead in RBIs, he also is the league leader in doubles with 5. So he knows how to find the ball in the gap, and if he's able to find a gap here, he might be able to drive in 2 with nobody out.
Yeah, he has been an absolute nightmare for opposing pitching, hitting 308 this year, leading the league, as you mentioned, in both doubles and RBIs. He'll try to give the Chatham Anglers a run here in the first. First pitch he sees is going to be the splitter, and that one will just catch the zone low, so it's a 0-1 count here to start it on a win.
O'Gwyn, the rising sophomore out of USC.
Yeah, became a staple in the lineup, primarily playing first base and corner outfield positions, as he will pop this one high in the air. Settling under it is Pat Winkle, who comes out right behind McCullough, and will make the catch for out number one. So ultimately not a bad way to get Jamal O'Gwyn out. It's not a productive out for the A's, and that'll bring up the cleanup man here with two away, or one away.
Yeah, and despite the battling the sun and the shadows, Winkle able to catch it. I mean, I think it was an infield fly rule regardless, had that ball dropped, so O'Gwyn retired, and as you mentioned, Tyler, that's a huge out to at least begin the first inning with two guys on base.
But the danger's not over, as Alex Torrell will step in, the cleanup man for the A's today. Runners on first and second, one away. McCullough deals a fastball that'll catch the zone low for strike one. Alex Torrell this season coming in hitting 208 on the year. A couple RBIs for him as well, and an on-base percentage well above 340. So with one away, he'll look to bring something in here. Infield at double play depth. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and there's the splitter that'll miss outside to even the count at 1-1.
Torrell spent last summer with the Newmarket Rebels of the Valley Baseball League. Hit 360 with a homer and 8 RBIs in the playoffs, so definitely a clutch gene for Torrell.
Yep, and back in 2018 with the Wisconsin Woodchucks. The 1-1 pitch, and that'll be fouled back to the screen, so McCullough finally able to get ahead of a hitter here. And he's got him 1-2. Torrell, another guy out of the University of Miami. The U, as some like to call it. Said back during his childhood, he just kept picking up the bat, and as soon as he started playing, he absolutely loved it. So a longtime baseball guy, standing out here in the Cape Cod League now. One of the top summer honors a man can achieve, as this soft speed pitch will miss outside, and the count is even at 2-2. And really, Colin, I mean, no matter where a lot of these guys go during the summer of their freshman year, count full here.
And then make the transfer over to the Cape League when they're ready.
So after getting the first two guys on base, Chatham goes 0 for 2, and now it'll be Ramirez had a big-time home run a day ago, as who chases it down by the line, and he'll squeeze with nobody out. After this, still not at 0. You're listening to PS of 902, 8 home run strikeouts to 44 walks. And how about this, Colin, just to add to Harwich's danger on the base paths,